Gemini said Eclarb's script. Start. Dustin Poirier has stood in the middle of the octagon for years, staring down the most dangerous strikers on the planet. But lately, he is facing an opponent that no amount of fight camp preparation could have braced him for. It is a battle that has brought a legend of the sport to his absolute knees, forcing him to be vulnerable in a way that feels almost alien to the world of mixed martial arts. When Poirier finally opened up about his struggle with depression, the response he received was not universal sympathy, but rather a harsh, brutal collision with one of the most polarizing figures in the UFC. Sean Strickland, the reigning middleweight champion, did not hold back. He saw Poirier's admission not as a moment of courage, but as a target, firing off a critique that stripped away the nuance and questioned why a man with wealth and status would even be allowed to feel such despair. This is not just a disagreement between two fighters, it is a clash of two fundamentally different philosophies on what it means to be a man and what it means to be strong. The tension here is palpable, thick, and demanding to be examined, because it cuts right to the heart of the ongoing debate surrounding mental health in a sport that is built on the foundation of suppression and sheer physical grit. Imagine the optics: millions of fans watching a man who has traded leather with Conor McGregor twice. A man who has built a brand and a legacy, suddenly being told to his face that his pain is invalid. This is the field Poirier is standing in right now, a landscape where he is attempting to piece his life back together, while the loudest voices in the industry are actively arguing over whether he deserves the benefit of the doubt. How did we get here? To truly understand this, we have to look past the social media noise and trace the path back to a single moment that shattered the public perception of the Diamond. It started on a Father's Day weekend that went sideways in an instant at an airport gate in Atlanta. Poirier had been traveling for work, but somewhere between the flight out of Lafayette and the connection in Georgia, things started to unravel. He had been drinking, and when he was denied boarding for his flight to Fort Lauderdale, the situation escalated into a public scene that would define the headlines for weeks. Footage surfaced of a visibly agitated Poirier shouting at staff, then turning that aggression on a police officer who was simply doing his job. He was arrested for public intoxication, a charge that could carry significant legal consequences. But the damage to his reputation was immediate and visceral. We saw a man who is usually a picture of composure squaring up to an officer, looking like a stranger to the fans who have followed his every move for a decade. The irony is, he had warned us. Only weeks before the arrest, during a candid conversation on a podcast, he admitted that retirement was proving to be a complex, difficult, and sometimes dark transition. He spoke about good days and bad days, but nobody could have predicted that one of those bad days would manifest as a viral video of an arrest. After he was released on bond, he did not hide. He took to social media with an honest admission, stating clearly that walking away from fighting had not been easy on him. He acknowledged that alcohol was not the answer, referencing the tragic way it had ruined his own father's life, and he vowed to be the father his own family deserved. That initial apology was a moment of grace, but it only served as the prologue to the real revelation that came 2 weeks later on the Diary of a CEO podcast. This was a 90-minute deep dive where Poirier refused to be guarded. He told Stephen Bartlett that he did not even want to watch the body cam footage of his arrest, because he understood the reality of his actions without needing to see them frame by frame. He described his depression as something physical, a literal cloud in his head that exerted a gravitational pull toward negativity, regardless of his circumstances. He traced the roots of this feeling back several years, specifically pointing to the mental toll of his second loss to Justin Gaethje. It was a brutal knockout that triggered a shift in him, a period of emotional volatility that eventually led him to therapy. The most striking admission, however, was his confession about his own inconsistency. He had started going to therapy, started feeling better, and then, in a classic human error, stopped doing the work. He let the habits that kept him afloat drift away, and when the darkness returned, he made the choice to reach for the bottle instead of the tools he had been given. He didn't offer his father's history as an excuse. He took total ownership of his actions. He was drinking when he knew he shouldn't have, and he accepted the fallout without asking for a pass. That financial fallout is real. He has lost sponsors, and there is genuine uncertainty surrounding his role as an analyst on Paramount. He is living the consequences of that day in real time. And yet, this was the exact version of events that Sean Strickland chose to mock. Strickland, ever the contrarian, took to social media to blast the idea of a wealthy, beloved fighter feeling depressed. He compared Poirier's struggle to children suffering from terminal cancer, essentially telling him that his sadness was a vanity project for a rich man. He told him to relax, that getting arrested for public intoxication happens to the best of us, and that he should look in the mirror and ask himself why he is sad. It was a cold, calculated dismissal that cut through the noise with surgical precision. But here is where the narrative gets truly interesting, because Strickland was not the only one with a platform. The reactions from across the MMA landscape painted a picture of a sport grappling with its own internal demons. You had Jon Jones, the heavyweight champion, stepping in with a completely different energy. Jones, who has navigated his own high-profile legal issues and struggles with substance abuse, offered a hand of empathy. He encouraged Poirier to keep his head up, reminded him that this too shall pass, and suggested that staying busy was the key to moving forward. Jones even drew a fascinating comparison, noting that retiring from the cage feels strangely like leaving military service, a transition that many fighters find jarring and isolating. Then there was Colby Covington, who has spent years feuding with Poirier. He did exactly what his rivals always do, which is to use the tragedy as a weapon. He toasted to the Father of the Year, weaponizing the optics of the arrest to belittle Poirier's character. It was a low blow, but in the context of their long-standing animosity, it was entirely predictable. Then you had Drew Dober, who shared his own struggles with the monotony of retirement and the temptation of the bottle, bringing the conversation down to a human level that most people could actually relate to. When Strickland doubled down on Dober's post with his classic four-word mantra, "Just don't drink," it underscored exactly where he stands. Strickland is not performing. This is his lived reality, likely forged in the fires of a childhood marked by an abusive, alcoholic father. That background has turned his potential for empathy into a rigid, almost hostile demand for discipline. He sees the world in black and white because that is how he survived his own past. The contrast between Jones's empathetic outreach and Strickland's biting critique is the tension that defines this entire episode. It forces us to ask what we actually value in our heroes. Do we want them to be perfect, or do we want them to be honest? Dustin Poirier is currently providing the latter, even when it costs him his reputation, his sponsorships, and his peace of mind. He has returned to therapy, he is focused on his sobriety, and he is trying to find the contact information for the police officer he confronted so he can apologize in person. This is not the behavior of a man looking for an excuse. It is the behavior of a man trying to repair the damage he has done. He puts his odds of returning to the cage at 5%, acknowledging that the real fight is no longer about winning a title, but about winning the internal battle for his own purpose. He and his wife are continuing their charitable work through the Good Fight Foundation, proving that the thread of his life remains intact even as the surface is being buffeted by the storm of his recent actions. Strickland remains the middleweight champion, a man who built his career on the idea that if you are not tough enough to suppress your emotions, you are not tough enough to be in the game. He will return to the cage later this year, likely against Khamzat Chimaev, and he will continue to be the loud, unapologetic force that he has always been. He is a man who decided that honesty was a weakness, while Poirier is a man who has decided that honesty is the only way out of the darkness. The MMA world is still watching, still arguing, and still trying to define where the line is between a public meltdown and a personal journey. Ultimately, Dustin Poirier is still standing there, holding onto that cloud and trying to clear it one day at a time, regardless of whether his critics believe he has the right to be human. His life is a messy, complicated, and entirely relatable work in progress. And the fact that he is willing to do that work in front of an audience that is so ready to tear him down is perhaps the most resilient thing he has ever done. We are seeing a shift in the way we view these icons. A move away from the myth of the unshakable warrior toward the reality of the struggling person. Poirier's story is not a tragedy, nor is it a victory yet. It is just the truth. And in a world that is so often filled with curated personas and carefully managed images, that kind of raw, unfiltered exposure is rare. He is forcing us to confront the fact that our champions are not immune to the pressures of retirement, the pain of the past, or the temptation of the substances that have plagued so many others before them. As he navigates this, he is setting a new kind of example, one that doesn't involve winning a gold belt, but involves winning the respect of those who actually care about his well-being. The question of whether he will ever fight again is secondary to the question of whether he will ever find the peace he is searching for. For now, he is doing the work, and that has to be enough. Whether Sean Strickland or anyone else agrees with his methods or his motives, the reality remains that Dustin Poirier is fighting the hardest fight of his life, and he is doing it with the same grit that made him a legend in the first place. Only this time the battleground is not a cage, it is the space between his own ears. We are witnessing a man trying to redefine what it means to be a champion, not through physical conquest, but through the quiet, consistent act of being honest about his own fragility. It is a lesson in humanity that serves as a necessary reminder that behind the highlight reels, the weigh-ins, and the trash talk, there are real people with real demons. The story of Dustin Poirier is far from over, and it remains one of the most compelling narratives in modern sports, because it is not just about a fall, but about the grueling, uncertain, and deeply necessary process of getting back up. He has stripped away the pretense and left himself exposed. And in doing so, he has invited us all to look at the cracks in the armor that we never realized were there. As the dust continues to settle, it becomes clearer that the true measure of a man is not found in how he stands when things are easy, but in how he handles the weight of his own errors when the whole world is watching and waiting for him to break. Poirier has not broken yet, and as he continues to move forward, he carries with him the weight of the optics, the loss of the sponsors, and the judgment of the champions. But he also carries the only thing that really matters, which is the resolve to do the work. It is a slow, steady path, and it is the only one he has. In the end, he is proving that strength is not about never feeling the weight of the world, but about acknowledging that the weight is there and continuing to walk anyway. That is the essence of his journey, and it is a journey that is far more significant than any fight he ever won. As he continues to prioritize his family, his recovery, and his growth, he is carving out a new space for himself, one where he doesn't need a cheering crowd or a title to have value. It is a profound, quiet shift, and it is exactly what he needs. Regardless of where you land on the spectrum of these conflicting views, it is undeniable that what we are watching is a genuine human moment that will continue to resonate long after the latest social media discourse has faded away. This is the reality of the fight, the real fight, the one that never ends, and the one that demands everything you have to offer. Poirier is still here, and he is still fighting, and that is all that any of us can hope for when the clouds gather. He is taking the lessons he learned, both in the therapy room and in the heat of his mistakes, and he is applying them to the only thing that truly matters, which is the life he is building outside of the spotlight. It is a testament to his character that he continues to show up for his community, for his family, and for himself, even when the path is obscured by the criticism of his peers. He is navigating the chaos with a clear eye, and he is refusing to let the noise define his worth. That is the kind of legacy that lasts longer than a winning record. And it is the kind of legacy that Dustin Poirier is quietly securing for himself every single day. The world might still be arguing about his right to be depressed, but he is past that. He is focused on the work, and the work is what will carry him through. That is the ultimate answer to the question of whether his pain is valid, because the truth is that his pain is his own, and his recovery is his own, and no amount of public commentary can take that away from him. He is moving forward, and he is doing it on his own terms, and that is perhaps the most powerful statement he could ever make in a sport that is so often defined by the opinions of others. He is proving that he is more than a fighter, more than a champion, and more than a brand. He is a person who is capable of growth, capable of change, and capable of finding his way back from the brink. That is the real story of Dustin Poirier, and it is a story that is still being written. And as we watch from the sidelines, we are reminded that everyone is fighting their own battle, and that sometimes the most important victory you can ever achieve is the one you win over yourself. This has been a deep look into the current state of one of the sport's most respected icons, and it is a story that deserves to be followed as it continues to unfold. We are all learning that the true strength of a person is not always in their ability to fight, but in their ability to endure, to reflect, and to grow. And that is exactly what Dustin Poirier is doing right now. Step by step, day by day, in a world that is still trying to decide if it is okay to be sad. It is a journey that we can all learn something from, and it is a journey that will continue to inspire as he finds his way back to the center of his own life, cloud and all. So, we wait and we observe, knowing that in the end, the only voice that truly matters is the one that says it is time to move forward, and that is exactly what he is doing, with a courage that is all his own. He is setting the standard for how to handle adversity in the public eye, and it is a standard that is rooted in truth, humility, and the tireless pursuit of getting better, even when the path is far from clear. This is the fight that he is in now, and it is a fight that he is determined to win, not for the fans, not for the sponsors, but for himself, and for the legacy he is building outside of the cage. We will see how this all plays out, but one thing is certain, the man we know as the Diamond is still as tough as they come, only now, he is fighting for something much more precious than a title. He is fighting for his life, and that is a fight that he is not about to give up on. The narrative continues to evolve, and we will be here to keep you updated on the latest developments as Dustin Poirier walks this path of recovery and renewal, proving once again that true grit is found in the quiet moments of reflection and the honest admission of struggle. It is a powerful reminder that our heroes are human too, and that they face the same challenges that we all do, and that is why their stories matter. Stay tuned as we continue to track this evolving story and see how the landscape shifts for one of the most respected fighters in the history of the sport. We appreciate you sticking around for this in-depth look at the complex reality of a legend in transition, and we hope you found this exploration as insightful as it is thought-provoking. The conversation is far from over, and your engagement is what keeps these discussions going. So thank you for being a part of this community as we continue to break down the biggest stories in combat sports with the depth and care they deserve. This is a story of resilience, of honesty, and of the enduring search for meaning in a world that is often too quick to judge. And we are grateful to share it with you as it unfolds. The path forward for Dustin Poirier remains uncertain, but his commitment to the work is clear, and that is what matters most. As he continues to navigate this challenging time, we will be here to provide the context, the analysis, and the perspective you need to stay informed and engaged. So keep checking back for more. We are committed to delivering the highest quality coverage of the stories that shape the world of mixed martial arts, and we thank you for your continued support as we dive deeper into the complexities of the human experience within the sport we all love. Until next time, stay tuned and keep following the truth, wherever it may lead. It has been a pleasure bringing you this analysis, and we look forward to exploring the next chapter of this unfolding drama together, because at the end of the day, it is the stories of the people behind the fighters that make this sport truly unique and worth following, and that is exactly what we are here to uncover. The journey continues, and we are just getting started, so make sure you stay with us for everything that is to come. Every voice matters in this conversation, and we are proud to be the ones bringing these stories to light in a way that respects the complexity of the individuals involved. We know you value the truth, and we are dedicated to providing it to you, every single time. Thank you for your time, for your attention, and for your passion. And we will be back soon with more of the coverage that you rely on to understand the world of combat sports, because this story is far from finished, and we want to ensure you have everything you need to keep up with every twist and turn. The narrative is constantly changing, but our focus on the human element of these stories will always remain. So keep listening and keep learning, because there is always more to the story than what you see on the surface. We have covered the events, the reactions, and the deeper context behind this situation, and we believe that this provides a comprehensive view of where things stand. But as we all know, things can change quickly in this sport, and we will be the first to let you know when they do. So, stay alert, stay curious, and continue to look beyond the headlines, because that is where the real truth is usually hidden. It has been a long journey to get to this point, but we are confident that you have everything you need to navigate this story as it continues to develop, and we thank you for being a part of the process. We will see you in the next one, with more in-depth reporting and analysis that gets to the heart of the matter, because that is what this community is all about. This is only the beginning of the discussion, and we are excited to see how it grows and changes in the coming weeks and months, so make sure you are ready for everything that is on the horizon. We are just scratching the surface of what is possible in this sport, and we are thrilled to have you with us for the ride, because it is going to be a fascinating one. Keep watching, keep listening, and keep asking the tough questions, because that is how we all grow and learn together. We appreciate you more than we can say, and we look forward to the next time we get to dig into the stories that define our world and our lives. Stay tuned for more, and until then, take care of yourselves and keep looking for the truth in everything you do. This is the end of this current look at the story, but the story itself is still very much alive, and we will be here to cover it every step of the way, so do not go anywhere. We have a lot more to cover, and we are just getting started with our deep dive into the lives and minds of the fighters who give us everything they have in the cage, so keep checking back for the latest. We know you are looking for the best, and we are dedicated to being the best, so thank you for choosing us as your source for the truth, the depth, and the analysis that you deserve. We will be back before you know it, with more of the content that you have come to expect. So stay tuned and keep your eyes on the prize, because we are not slowing down. This is the world of professional mixed martial arts, where anything can happen at any time, and we are here to help you make sense of it all, so stay with us and stay informed. We appreciate your patience, your trust, and your dedication to the sport, and we look forward to continuing this conversation with you in the future, as we always do. There is so much more to talk about, and we are excited to get into all of it, so make sure you are ready for the next installment of our deep dive series, because it is going to be a good one. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and we will see you soon with more of the coverage that you love and that you need, as we continue to explore the fascinating world of the fighters who define our time. We are just getting started, so stay with us, keep watching, and stay informed, because the story of Dustin Poirier is just one of many that we are going to explore in the days ahead, and we are so glad you are here for it. Until then, keep living your truth and keep moving forward, no matter what, just like the Diamond himself, because that is what it means to be a true warrior. And remember, the fight never really ends, it just changes shape, So keep your guard up and keep moving forward, because the next challenge is always right around the corner, and you have to be ready to face it with everything you have. We are here to help you get ready, and we thank you for your support as we continue this important work together. We will see you next time, with more of the analysis that you trust and the stories that you care about, because we are in this together, and we are just getting started. There is no stopping now, so keep the energy high and the focus sharp, because we have a lot more to uncover, and we are excited to take this journey with you as we explore the heart and soul of the sport that we all know and love. See you next time, with everything you need to know about the stories that are shaking the world of MMA. As we continue our mission to bring you the truth, one story at a time. It is a long road ahead, but we are ready for it, and we hope you are too, because it is going to be a wild, complex, and deeply rewarding experience. We are here for it, and we are ready for it, and we know you are too. So let us keep going, let us keep exploring, and let us keep learning together. This is the end of this script, but the story continues, and we will be there every step of the way. See you soon, with more of the content that you count on to stay on top of the world of combat sports. Thank you for being a part of this, and for everything that you do to support our mission. We are just getting started, and we cannot wait to share the rest of the journey with you, as we continue to dig deep, explore the truth, and bring you the stories that matter most, every single day. This is the promise we make to you, and it is a promise we are committed to keeping as we continue to grow and evolve together. We are in this for the long haul, and we are so excited to see where it leads. So stay tuned, stay connected, and stay ready for everything that is to come. There is so much more in store for you, and we are thrilled to have you here for the ride. See you next time, with more of the coverage you love and the depth you need to truly understand the world of MMA. The journey is just beginning, and we are so glad you are here for it. Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned, because there is more on the way. See you on the next one.